Hello, Washington. My name is Stephanie Farron, and I'm autistic with selective mutism, so please bear with me while I speak. And that's where we're at, just so you know. Generation X and autistic with selective mutism. Our government is such a dumpster fire that I am making myself speak. It's so bad, and I feel so sorry for all the youth, just everybody. You don't deserve what you're getting. But this is going to be about Washington State labor and industries. And this is for all of my fellow Washingtonians so that you understand exactly the level of corruption that we are now dealing with. Ann Springer of Labor and Industries got my case for NW Auto at 500 Grady Way in Renton, Washington. They had multiple safety issues. They also have another location that was in Seattle and in Puyallup. They were trying to get a paint booth installed, and the owner had more than 5 times the amount of hazmat at the Puyallup location than was listed on the application for the paint booth that they were going to be installing. And I was the one that was doing the paperwork, and when I found that out, I did report it. And then I also reported, it had been so many things, like a buildup. There were, staff that were going home. There's 3 separate legal entities as businesses, even though they shared, 2 of them shared the same name. And that was for his liability, because he's a criminal-minded employer. And so, but he was moving all of his staff from place to place, whether they liked it or not. And the reason being is because he had 3 estimators that were very vile to all of the rest of the employees. And so these people were, they were going through staff because they were being treated really badly, and people were going home crying. I was the accountant and the HR, and then he tried to say that I wasn't HR after giving everybody at 3 locations my phone number, my personal phone number, and telling him I'm their HR. He only said that to save his ass. He was going to be audited by federal OSHA in 2023. That's why he hired me. He wanted me to make it look good. He had been in business for 23 years. Seattle Automotive in Soto. This man had been in business for 23 years. He did not have a single thing for HR. Not a single thing. And Elle and I had never been out there before. Never. Anyway, so I reported all of these things, and when I did, I was retaliated against harshly. I was told I wasn't allowed to talk to anybody. I wasn't allowed to email anybody. I wasn't allowed to enter any of the locations, and my location had been put to another one, just my own little office. And again, I'm autistic with selective mutism. This is, so very overwhelming for anybody, but just a little added extra stress when you are autistic and you already have a lot of sensory issues coming in, and just the overwhelm of daily, we are taking in a lot of information at all times. Let's just say that. And so when you have this other, thing thrown into the mix, it just gets shittier. Anyway, so this is all reported, and federal OSHA sends it to state OSHA. And during this time, I went back into work after a week of administrative layoff, where they told me they didn't want me coming in because they didn't want me talking to anybody, mind you. And so after a week of administrative layoff, I went back in, and they had removed all of my files. They removed my permissions from the computer, and there was nothing I could do. They were trying to make me quit. And I couldn't sit there and just have that. And then they had the guy that I had just hired, really sweet guy, really nice guy, come and take the checks away from me like I was a thief or something. And that was when I was just like, I left. I'd already I had bloody knees, and I'd asked for a safety kit, and they laughed at me. Her name is Van Yoon. I believe she still works there at the 500 South Grady Way location. Just the evilest, nastiest woman. Just a really disgusting person. That and... what was it? Tram and Van. Both those 2 estimators are the ones that were sending people home in tears. Just the most despicable and bitter, nasty women. I mean, I watched one of them yell at a man that was like, almost twice her height, and like he just stood there and took it. And when I tried to talk to her about it, she yelled at me. Like, they're really disgusting people. Anyway, so I walked out. I mean, what are you going to do? You can't just sit there and collect a paycheck. You're not doing anything, and you're being retaliated against so harshly that it's humiliating. And so that was reported, and that was the end of July, August 4th, and Springer sends me an email, oh, you quit, so I'm not even going to bother. I'm not even going to bother. So, of course, I say I want to, appeal this decision, this half-ass, lazy bitch decision. And I called the number that they have for appeals, and they said during that time that they were overwhelmed, and they referred you back to L&I. There was like an outgoing message, and it's just like, hey, we are overwhelmed. So I called, and I asked, how do I appeal? How do I appeal? I emailed, how do I appeal? Of course, this bitch never answers, right? So I contacted the civil department of it to say, hey, I'm being discriminated against because I am autistic with selective mutism, and I'm not being heard, and I'm using my voice. And so he says, also, same thing. Oh, who cares, right? No, I'm not going to let it go. This is absolutely ridiculous. So when Sean Gordon, their assistant AG, who she also, you're going to love this, when he says, hey, this has to be investigated, I'm put in with a person named Shannon Enright. Shannon Enright of the Civil Rights Department in Illinois. And I told her when I called her, I'm recording this because you guys lie. Government workers lie. They lie their asses off. You have to record them. They are all just like slithery, snaky little just serpents. And you have to record them because even they can't remember what they told you last. Anyway, so I recorded the conversation with her, told her everything that had happened, as I've just told you. And she comes back with a determination that she's not going to do anything. And so I say, why? And Sean Gordon is in on these emails. And she's like, oh, I thought it was already, I thought it was a new case. I didn't realize I was, the recording 30 seconds in, I detailed to her how her office mate, Rodrigo Ramon, I've already talked to him and that he did nothing about it. She's lying. Just outright blatantly lying. Just no cares given. That is our government workers. Now, so I'm upset, and I asked for all the internal emails and everything like this from Ann Springer. Do you want to know? And I'm going to show you. You're going to get to read this woman's email. I want you, the public, to understand that at Labor and Industries, they are laughing at us. On your check, I want you to go home when you get your paycheck. Look, they have their own line. They get their own line of taxes, L&I, and yet you're gonna see the email where they wait until we give up and go away. Or they use Sean Gordon. They threaten people with a cease and desist if you insist that your case be heard, if you insist that it's investigated. And they think it's funny. They share that in group emails with each other. Shannon Enright, her email back to me was, I'm sorry if you feel. Feelings have nothing to do with this. Reality does. You lied. You are working at Labor and Industries in the Civil Rights Department, and you outright lied. I'm autistic with selective mutism, and it pissed me off enough that I'm making this video, and I'm speaking. And along with that, my son worked there. He was a minor. He was not allowed to take breaks. He was overworked. And all of this was reported on his behalf by me. They also refused to investigate that. They have done nothing for him. So when we both worked at Dr. Ellen Derrick's office, a doctor who also goes through her staff like toilet paper, literally, 22 staff in 3 years. She's literally gone through staff like toilet paper. She overcharges people because thousands of dollars had to be refunded while I was there. Nobody will investigate her though. The state board said that they were, only because it was insisted upon by me. I've had no answer back from them, even though I've asked. This woman has she takes her $250 consult time, and I don't know how many patients ask me, why is she telling me about her kid and their personal issues, her child's personal issues, and also her spa. So she would take a 30-minute consult time, and she would take that time that they were paying $250 cash for and use it to upsell her spa and talk about her kid. I'm not going to say what, because that's not my business to be sharing, nor was it hers. And she also spoke to my other son very inappropriately about, and also, again, regarding her child in a sexual manner. My son, when he was working with her as an MA and training under her, she also refused him breaks. But because it does tie into the other thing she said to my son, and it disturbed me, she would take my son into her very tiny little office to get to know him. It was very, very strange. She's a very creepy lady. Dr. Ellen Derrick. Yeah, gross. Anyway, but when this happened, he didn't even want to file and say she's not letting me take breaks, because they already ignored his first claim. They just absolutely refused to do anything. So this is the Labor and Industries. Labor and Industries doesn't even care if children are being abused, and they're empowering employers to abuse everybody, not just the adults, also the minors that are working. So we need to get on them. We need to get something done about it. This is for awareness. And so if you have a case that you would like me to, help you file a tort claim, if it's been less than 2 years and you have a case with L&I and they didn't do anything, contact me. My name is Stephanie Farren. So just reverse that. Farren Stephanie, FarrenStefanie @yahoo.com. If you are in Washington State in the last 2 years and you have a case with L&I that was never done anything about, or you feel that something should have been done about, and you feel that you were very, egregiously wronged and that they just didn't do anything, you're probably right, because I have proof in an email that they just wait for people to go away. So contact me and I'll help you. If it's been less than 2 years, let's get a tort claim filed on them. Let's get these guys. Let's get them up and doing their jobs or resigned.